The day my parents dragged me into a courtroom over a house I bought with my own hands, something inside me cracked. It wasn't the kind of break that makes you cry, it was the kind that makes everything suddenly painfully clear. Like a window shattering after years of pressure, and you finally realize the glass was never strong enough to begin with. My name is Leora, and I used to believe that if I just kept my head down and stayed grateful, my family would treat me fairly. That if I worked hard enough, earned enough, behaved well enough, peace would be my reward. I didn't grow up in a home full of shouting, no, that would have been too obvious. My father, Garin, controlled everything with a calm voice and rules that felt more like commandments. And my mother, Ilara, softened those commandments with guilt disguised as love. But my younger brother, Cade? He never had to deal with any of that. He grew up cushioned by their explanations, their excuses, their endless belief that he needed more support, more chances, more sacrifices made on his behalf. I learned before I was even old enough to say the word unfair, that fairness wasn't welcome in our home. Expectations were, so I built my life outside of theirs. I worked late nights until my spine ached. Ate the same bland meals every week. Skipped every trip, every splurge, every impulse that didn't lead me closer to one thing: stability. Place of my own. A front door only I could open. 6 years of discipline. 6 years of saying next time to every pleasure. And when I finally saved enough for a down payment, I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd be proud of me. Ilara lit candles like she was preparing a celebration. My girl, she beamed. We always knew you'd do something smart. Garin gave a single nod, which was his version of applause. And then Cade leaned back, stirring his drink like he was bored. Must be nice, he said. Some of us didn't get lucky in the career department. He wasn't joking. He never joked about that. I brushed it off. I always brushed it off. I told myself it didn't matter. I was so close to my dream I could feel the key in my palm, and when I found the house, a quiet, imperfect little 2-story place tucked at the edge of the city, it felt like inhaling after years of holding my breath. Signing the papers felt like stepping into sunlight after living underground. I didn't know that same house would set fire to every illusion I had left about the people who raised me. 3 days after closing, I was surrounded by half-open boxes, sweaty and exhausted, when my phone buzzed non-stop. I ignored it until my best friend, Mira, sent a message that made my blood run cold. You need to see this. Now. It was a post from Cade. Dramatic, self-pitying, and completely deliberately false. When your sister uses the money grandma meant for you and buys a house for herself. Comments poured in, strangers I'd never met calling me greedy, awful, heartless. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. My grandmother never left me, or him, anything tied to a house. There was no fund, no promise, nothing. Before I could breathe, my father called. His tone wasn't angry. That would have made sense. No, he sounded official. Prepared. We need to talk about the property, he said. What property? The house, he replied. The one you purchased with funds designated for your brother. My pulse hammered. There were no designated funds. I bought the house with my savings. Silence. Then Garin delivered a sentence that didn't just hurt. It rewired the way I understood my entire family. That house belongs to Cade. I dropped onto the stairs, dizzy. Dad, this is insane. You're being difficult, he cut in. Your brother needs that home more than you. We're meeting with our attorney tomorrow. Attorney. My own parents were preparing to sue me over a house I earned. I couldn't process it. I couldn't breathe. I sat there in my new hallway, surrounded by fresh paint and dreams I'd barely unpacked, while the people who raised me sharpened their knives. Mira came over within 10 minutes. Behind her was Jalen, her older brother, who'd always looked out for me like a protective cousin. They're serious, he said. You need legal help. Real legal help. The next morning he brought a folder and a name. Arwen Locke, an attorney who specialized in family property and inheritance battles. Arwen listened to everything. Every lie, every threat, every hollow justification. When I finished, she tapped her pen once. Their claim is weak, she said. But weak claims can still cause damage. We gather evidence. We gather witnesses. And then we crush this. Uncle Soren didn't even hesitate when I called. Your grandmother wanted fairness, he said. I'll sign whatever you need. Aunt Lisa's voice trembled with anger I had never heard from her. Your father begged your grandparents to change the will, to give more to Cade. They refused. He never accepted that. Piece by piece, the truth stopped being smoke and took shape. But the real turning point came 2 nights later. Mira and I drove to my house to grab a few things. From the sidewalk, I saw someone on my porch, jiggling the door handle. Trying a key that I froze. Cade. What are you doing? I yelled out. He turned, startled. I thought I could look inside. It's gonna be mine anyway. He wasn't joking, that he wasn't delusional, he truly believed he was entitled to my home. Arwen called it what it was. Attempted unauthorized entry. Evidence. And suddenly fear wasn't the only thing inside me anymore. Something sharper took its place. Something steadier. If they wanted a war, they'd get one. The courthouse felt cold. Like everything inside it had forgotten what warmth was. When Arwen and I walked in, my heartbeat felt too loud in my chest. My family sat across the room at the plaintiff's table. Garen straightened his shoulders, Elara avoided my eyes, and Cade stared at me like I'd robbed him of something sacred. Arwen leaned close. Steady, she whispered. Facts. Not feelings. The judge entered, stern, sharp, no nonsense. The kind of woman who could slice through lies with a look. My parents' lawyer started with nonsense about verbal family agreements, and clear intentions and arrangements understood by all parties. Arwen countered with documents, statements, bank records, facts that didn't bend. Then came the witnesses, Soren, Lisa. Their truths cut through the courtroom like wind through fog. When I took the stand, my voice didn't tremble. I earned this house. Every dollar. There was no agreement. No fund. No promise. Just 6 years of work. Then Arwen revealed Cade's attempted break-in. A hush fell over the room, so heavy it felt physical. The judge reviewed everything slowly, carefully, quietly. Then she lifted her gaze. The evidence is clear. The defendant acted independently and legally. The plaintiffs acted without basis. This case is dismissed with prejudice. Her gavel struck like thunder. Elara covered her mouth. Garen's face drained of color. Cade looked like a child whose toy had been taken away. Outside the courtroom, Garen stormed after us. This isn't over, he barked. We're still family. I faced him fully. Family doesn't drag each other into court over lies, I said. Family doesn't try to steal what someone else worked for. Elara reached for me, whispering, We don't want to fight. You already did, I whispered. And you lost. And for the first time, they couldn't twist the narrative. They couldn't guilt me. They couldn't shrink me back into the obedient daughter they counted on. When I returned to my home that evening, the sunset painted the street gold, and for the first time, the house didn't feel like a battleground. Felt like a victory. Mira brought food. Jalen brought sparkling cider. Arwen arrived with a rare, soft smile. Justice doesn't solve everything, she said, but it gives you room to breathe. And she was right. As I walked through my living room, I felt something settle inside me. Not triumph, but peace. Real peace. The kind that comes when you finally stop letting people rewrite your story. If you've ever had to fight for what's yours, if you've ever stood alone against the people who should have stood with you, just know this, you're not alone. Tell me where you're listening from, and if this story hits something in you, subscribe for more. I'm not done talking yet.